Okay, we're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the internet,
I think
Silverline
that's
Comics.
I think that's what we're gonna have to do from here going forward because we're like
Live from across America.
That's right. So hello everyone and welcome to Silverline Live. This is issue number. Is this 7?
7.
7. This is issue number 7. And tonight our topic is going to be our favorite parts of quarantine. As you are no doubt all of you aware, all over the world people are living in quarantine, and if you know any of us, as we think you do, we at Silverline like to try to remain as upbeat as possible. So we're going to talk about our favorite parts of quarantine as we go through the night. But excuse me, as we do every week, I'm going to go through the list here and ask everyone to introduce themselves and tell us what Silverline projects they are working on, what their role at Silverline is. We are missing a couple people that we want to shout out to before I get to the murderer's row here. And Barb is not feeling well, and she said for us to have a good stream. John Medic is not feeling well. He said the same. Becca is also not feeling well. There was someone else not feeling well, I think. So we wish them all speedy recoveries and hope we will see them again next week. Tommy is having issues in his real world job, and hopefully he said he'll pop in a little late, so hopefully that will happen. But my name is Roland Mann. I am the writer of Cat and Mouse and a new project in the work called Trumps. And I'm also kind of the chief wrangler here. And my wife is telling me I need to turn off my fan. So next up is going to be Kurtis while I turn off my fan.
Okay, I'm Kurtis Fujita. I've known Roland and worked with him in the comic book industry for some time. Currently, I'm the editor on Kalis, written by Brent, as well as the creative director. And I've also done artwork for comic books and video games. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on over to the next person.
I had the baton. I could we talked about this before, but we're going to have to really do it so I can. Here you go. Tim, you're next. Who are you?
Oh, okay, I'm next. Hi, I am Tim TK, and I'm looking at 2 different monitors now, and they're both my face, and it's very confusing. I am the associate editor and blog guru now, I guess. I'm also working on 2 different books, and I am producing our Wednesday night streams for a bit here.
That's right. Yep. And doing a fantastic job. We last week, everyone kind of in good humor pointed at Tim for all the failings, right, of the stream. This week he is better equipped, and I feel bad that I didn't better equip him last week. So he's got all the goodness, and the bumper that you heard before the stream and the starting now, all of that is in his hands, and we're good to go. So next up on the list is Brent.
Hey, quick question, Tim. What's a blogaroo?
A blog guru?
A blogaroo. It sounds like a made-up mythical creature, like a chupacabra or something.
Yeah, his old ears aren't hearing the G.
It's the Australian abbreviation of blog guru. I'm an old blogaroo. I got old blogaroo.
It's a blogaroo. I am the creator and writer of Kalis, which I'm actually happy to report is over a third of the way inked. So issue 3, rather.
Wow, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's sweet. And I noticed last night you popped in on. I got to give a shout out to the store who has some issues that they previewed last night. So we're hoping the folks down in the Woodlands, Texas, will go to Space Cadets Space Cadets Collection, and they have copies of Kalis, and Jen, who is the owner there, was really hyped up about Kalis. So we were excited to see that she was very excited about that book. They also have copies of a Cat and Mouse that you could pick up there as well. So those of you near the Woodlands, look up Space Cadets Collection for some cool Silverline books. All right, next up is Alex, whose face we cannot see, but whose pencil we see.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Gallimore. I'm the penciler for Cat and Mouse currently. This is going to be a Silverline ad that will hopefully be in all of the upcoming issues we produce before the next in-house ad we do. And yeah, I got some more books with Roland coming along, but right now, Cat and Mouse.
Yep. And I've told Alex this before. I absolutely love the way he says currently. So, that means he's already planning what's next. And in all honesty, in all seriousness, this is something Alex said. He said, "Hey man, I like this thing here. What's next?" And I said, "Well, this is this." He goes, "I want to draw that." I'm like, "Cool. All right." And even then, it wasn't but a week, 2 weeks later, something like that, maybe a little bit longer than that. He said, "So what's after that?" I'm like, "That's 4 issues, dude." He said, yeah, but I just want to think ahead. And I'm like, "Okay, real cool." So yeah, we've actually got something lined up for Alex after that. So we've got Alex busy for easily for the next year. So it's kind of exciting. And the other thing I'm going to say, I'm going to shout out Alex here. I've said this to him privately as well, so it's not a surprise. Alex has been a super recruiter here. He has been jumping out and reaching out to his, I guess it's mostly Kubert buddies, but certainly all artist buddies. And he has been recruiting like crazy. So if someone mentioned level up before we went live, Alex would have leveled up multiple times in his recruiting. He would certainly, if we're all level 1s, he's a level 10. So Alex, certainly thank you for doing all that. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. Hey, where's your thumbs up? You got to draw another one? Oh, there it is. All right. Last but not least on my screen here is Sid Williams. Sid, tell the people who you are.
Hi, it's Sidney Williams, and you can find me at Twitter under Sidney Williams.
Perfect.
Easy to go there. I am a writer, and let me pretend that I see what's actually floating there.
I thought you were about to talk to yourself on the banner behind you.
I could do that too, but no. I have like a monitor here, and so I saw that it's a page from Bloodline is appearing right there right now, and so I wrote an upcoming one shot called Bloodline, based on a short story by myself and my friend Robert Pettit from a collection called Under the Fang. It's about a group of resistance fighters in a world ruled by vampires. And I also wrote an upcoming Silverline miniseries called Friar Rush. Excited about that. And we'll be hearing people out there in YouTube land and Stitch land will be hearing more about it soon.
Yep. And I think if he could get his tech issues working out, I've got a little message over here, a little spinner, that the inker for Friar Rush is attempting to join us. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice,
So we may get John Martin on if he can get his technical issues worked out.
John actually inked some of Friar Rush Live on Facebook, I believe, when he was in the depths of doing the work. So,
he did, and I got to try to figure out how to get those some of the footage of that so that I can use it when we actually run the Kickstarter.
Cool,
yeah. So hopefully John will be able to join us next week and ink some Friar Rush 2 live when we talk about the inkers.
Bloodline cover art there. So it's our hero Dugan, who is kind of the has a bad background, but is ready to rise up against the vampires.
And as I see John slowly making his way in, I want to certainly mention who the behind the scenes here. We have my lovely bride of 30 years now, BJ Man, who is off camera and off. I saw. Did you unmute yourself? Can you say hello?
I did. Hello. And I'm so proud of you because you said that I was telling you to turn the overhead light out and you just remembered. So I love you.
Stop it. Stop it. I'm hanging out with the guys here. Yeah, BJ is she handles all of our chats on all three of our platforms. You can find us on Facebook Live, and you can find us on Twitch, and you can find us on YouTube. Please, on all of those platforms, if you will, like and subscribe and share if you feel so inclined, please. And we're also very happy to say, since last week, we've got more than 100 followers on YouTube, so that we were able to name our channel. And the YouTube channel is now officially youtube.com/C/SilverlineComics. So that one's an easy one to remember. I tried to get the C out of there. I'm not really sure why that's there.
Let me
Never having done a YouTube channel before, I'm guessing that just stands for channel. I don't know. But I couldn't.
But it was awesome. Everybody helped out big time, and
absolutely.
It happened within, less than 48 hours that we reached that. So
I can confirm if you just type in youtube.com/SilverlineComics, it redirects to that. So.
Oh,
there you
okay.
Go. Yeah.
Cool. Fantastic.
If we dip below 100 again, do we lose the name and then we come nameless again?
Do not go unfollow.
Okay.
It becomes an advertisement for Max Ribs there.
Oh no!
So I'm guessing John has a really slow internet because I've got a little connecting message from him or about him. I don't know if you guys can see it on the screen as well. I've got a connecting, and it's been there for about 2 minutes now.
Yeah, that's taking a second.
So dancing ellipsis there.
Yeah. So as we're waiting to see if he can maybe get in, a couple other things to mention before we kind of get on. Did I have this last week? Did I have Kalis 2 last week? I don't think I did. Did I?
I don't think he did.
No.
I wasn't here.
Yeah, this is our proof copy of Kalis 2, and I have to say it looks gorgeous. It looks beautiful. It looks fantastic. I will be sending out an update on the actually let me while we're here, I'll show you this. There's the Divinity ad, and then there's also a Bloodline ad.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
So
Cool.
yep. So Divinity coming in May, Bloodline coming in July. Divinity, we've already started promoting that Divinity, and it's our Silverline double feature. It'll be Divinity #1 and Twilight Grim #1. Divinity #1 is created by Barb Kelberg. It's co-written with her and R.A. Jones. The penciler is Alex Sarabia. Barb inked it, of course. Colorist is Steve Matson. We brought Steve. Steve said he hadn't colored anything since I may get this wrong, but basically he was heavily involved in coloring comics in the 1980s, pre-computer coloring. So all of you who are following, this is all pre-digital. This is not digital here. This is Steve Matson coloring this stuff old school style. Wow. And when Barb reached out to him, he's like, I don't do anything digital. And I told Barb, I said, Barb, tell him to color. We'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. And apparently his daughter helped him get it scanned, and I guess she tweaked it a little bit, and so it looks fantastic. So that's Divinity. The other part of our double feature then is Twilight Grim, which features Silverline gets to reunite the creative team of R.A. Jones and Rob Davis. Those who are longtime comic fans probably remember R.A. and Rob doing some projects together. Most notably, probably, Kurtis, would you think maybe Scimitar?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that one? Yep.
Yeah.
Which was an Eternity book. I think it was Eternity. It might have been Aircell. I tend to get those confused a little bit, but so we're excited. This both of those are going to be 4-issue miniseries, and these are the first issues. So Rob is doing the pencils and inks for that, and then Mickey Clausen is providing the colors for that, and they also look fantastic. And Tim, I think that I have failed to provide you any colors for Twilight Grim that Mickey has provided, but they look good. I'll make sure that I have those next week. Yeah. So the other thing I know we mentioned last week, we mentioned our merch store. So Tim, can you show the folks out there our merch store?
And there's a merch store.
Yep. So this is one of the things that BJ has been working on. Right now, there's probably only about 5 items, but all of the creative minds here at Silverline have been coming up with different ideas of the things that we can do for the merch store. So she has got a list that she started to work on to try to put these things together. So if you see, and if you out there, you think, hey, you know, I really want a mug that has this Silverline thing, just let us know. Just let us know and we'll make it happen. We can do that. And so that's one of the things we like about the merch store. But you got to tell us what you want. If there's something that you're wanting, and I keep putting this or this thing a cat and mouse or that thing a cat and mouse, you're like, no. I really want Widowmaker on the mug. Just tell us and we'll make it happen.
These were just basic designs just to kind of get us on Zazzle so that something was up. So I am ready for ideas. Sid and Barb have given me some ideas, but I'm needing artwork and stuff like that. So working with Roland to get all that together.
Yep. And I know Tommy volunteered last week because sometimes if we want like an image from this, if we only wanted this guy, we would actually have to go in and crop this guy out of the artwork in order to put just him on a mug. And that just takes time. It's not a hard job to do, but it takes time. And that's one of the things that Tommy has offered to do. If anybody else in Silverline can do that, and you volunteer. Just remember, if you volunteer, I'm going to take you up on it. So don't volunteer if you don't want to do it, because if you volunteer and then I start sending you stuff, you're going, man, I really don't want to do this. Just remember, you volunteered.
I don't know if I said this, but I said in my opinion that the the blue still frame for the Kalis Kickstarter would make a dope T-shirt.
The one with the glasses
Kickstarter cover?
Yeah,
that was kind of sharp.
So a T-shirt, huh?
Yeah, I'd wear that.
Okay, cool. That's it. we got a thumbs up from Alex, who happens to be the artist of that Kickstarter cover.
That's a good price on masks that we've got there too.
Yeah, they look sweet.
Yeah, you look at a lot of the mask thing, like $39 or something, with Game of Thrones on it or anything. So
right,
so it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
we're not overpriced.
No, and that's one of the things we talked about. Certainly early on is that at least for now, we're not trying to get out there and use the merch store to get rich. This is not a get rich thing for us. What we really want to do is we want to see people wearing our products, right? We want to see people, because I think everybody, don't let me put words in your mouth, but I think I speak for everybody. We want to see people become walking billboards for Silverline, because we believe in our products. And if we price something too high, I mean, I'm not going to pay $40 for a T-shirt. Are you? Most people won't. So I'm more interested in seeing someone buy a reasonably priced T-shirt and wearing it than just the fact that we have cool T-shirts on the merch store, right? So that's kind of our goal. Who knows? Maybe on down the line we'll look to try to milk some money out of folks. I'm just kidding.
I bought a T-shirt once for $40, but I found out later that I was an idiot.
Yeah. Was there no one with you who could have told you that you were an idiot for?
It was an eBay thing, and it was this Avengers T-shirt. It was awesome, and it shrank to half the size, which made me look pretty awesome until the day after that, and then it just bare midriffs on a male just doesn't work.
Kind of looked like you were wearing a tube top, huh?
Yeah, some things you can't unsee.
I worked in marketing one time, and when you work with marketing, you have a lot of vendors and things. And we had an ad agency, and they gave us T-shirts one year for Christmas, but they were just awful, and they did pretty much what Brent's describing there. They just shrunk, and the colors ran and everything. We're going, guys, we're a pretty good client here. How about a popcorn basket? I mean,
So that covers the Kickstarter that we're going to run here in about 2 weeks. So we're going to start in about 2 weeks. Then we'll go through fulfillment for that, and then in July we're going to run our second Silverline double feature, and this is going to be the All Sid Silverline double feature, as we're going to have the Bloodline one shot number 1. It's just a one shot, but it's also going to have Friar Rush number 1, and Friar Rush is the first issue of a 3-issue miniseries. Normally Jeremy would join us, but we didn't hear from Jeremy, so we're not really sure. Hopefully he's not sick. And he's usually been coloring the pages. I did get a message from him, and he is on the last stretches. So it's going to be well finished in time. As any of you who are listening know, one of our hardcore beliefs is that we're going to finish the books before we kickstart them, so that once we're done, we can deliver them to you. We've heard all of the complaints on all the interwebs and all the social networks and all that kind of stuff about creators not delivering, and that's not who we intend not to be that person, that company, those people. That's not going to be us. We're gonna deliver your books to you. I will say this as an asterisk to the Kalis. We do have a slight hitch in that we'll be able to deliver hopefully next week, we'll be able to deliver get them all in the mail by this time, or maybe end of week next week, except for those who need artwork. And the reason we can't get those out is because the artwork is coming to us from Argentina, and the post offices in Argentina are closed. So I got a message from him. I think I need to confirm what his make sure my English is matching up with his, but I think he said it's supposed to open in another 10 days. So that means if you fortunately there's not too terribly many of you, but if you're one of the ones who got an art reward from the Kalis Kickstarter, we're going to have to wait a little bit on you, because he just can't ship the artwork to us yet. It's just not doable. So sorry about that. Coming up here in a few minutes, we're going to have another comic review from our friend over at Cosmic Times, Martin Piero. And I forget which one he reviewed. Tim, which one did he review? What's
I have that up here. That is, I don't want to turn to it just quite yet. That is going to be Lady Freedom.
Lady Freedom. Okay, so Martin will review that and give us the Silverline grades for those. It doesn't look like John was able to make it in. Hopefully he's still trying to figure out how to get in here, and if he figures it out, then we'll let John kind of introduce himself.
Tommy, a message from Tommy popped in too. He's still dealing with day job issues. So
yeah. Well, hopefully he'll still be able to join us a little bit later. Tommy's always our comedic relief here. So before we dive into the quarantine thing, anything else exciting, you guys? Tim, how's your streaming going? How's the Agro Bacon streaming?
Going good. I am closing in on affiliate. I just need to bring up my average viewership a little bit, but I met all the other requirements. So,
cool. So you got all the followers you need?
Got all the followers, got all the hours,
Excellent.
Got all the days on. So if anyone's got nothing going on after this, I stream Wednesday nights.
Sweet. Well, we'll make sure at the end of the stream that we point people your way, right? Also, there'll be, as in all the other. Oh, I just noticed seeing my hand in the stream. I have to put my Make Mine Silverline bracelet on. I don't have that on. Wristband. I don't like calling it bracelet. It sounds.
Roland, should we mention Comic Chat Authority?
Yes. Good idea. We've had Comic Chat Authority is having a Silverline interview month. And so far they have interviewed Sid, and they have interviewed Alex. You can find the link certainly on the Silverline Facebook page. Coming up next is me, and then and I think that'll be this weekend. And then I think next week is going to be Barb. So yeah, we appreciate Comic Chat Authority for making it Silverline month. They've been I forgot I was going to introduce Alex as the pencilist. Alex is our pencilist for Cat and Mouse. So yeah, they've been doing a great job doing the interviews over there with us, and we're excited about that. So what about you, Kurtis? Now, what Kurtis's secret identity now, and he's going to come after me probably because I'm revealing his secret identity live online. Kurtis is a Sifu. He teaches martial arts. Now, when I first heard the term, I'm one of these. I had to ask, what the heck is a Sifu? And it's just everybody has a tendency to know the term sensei. And he said, well, it's just sensei. It's just is it Chinese, Kurtis? The Sifu Chinese? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Chinese. And kind of the cool thing about it linguistically is the word Sifu for a Kung Fu instructor is composed of the words for teacher and father combined.
So that is cool.
Yeah. So it's half teacher, half father, and that makes you the martial arts teacher.
Oh, that's sweet. But yeah, so quarantine is certainly, and I'm trying not to steal any quarantine thunder here from you, but quarantine certainly is affecting Kurtis and his school, and he's been doing some live videos, and they have been very, very cool. And the first week he did it, he actually recommended at the end of the video, he actually recommended a movie to watch, and it was free on Amazon. So the next day or so, the wife and I popped over to Amazon and we watched the movie, and I'm like, hey, I saw Kurtis doing that move. Hey, I saw Kurtis doing that move. She was like, shut up and watch the movie. Shut up and watch the movie. Well, there were so many of these cool moves I saw him do. I'm like, I saw Kurtis do that, right? So it was very cool.
Yeah. So we have I'm sure Roland has the links for our school, Tiger Crane Kung Fu and the Sifu, and every week we put out a video for everybody to follow along if you want to work out, and we also give a Kung Fu video recommendation for the week. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. For me, the whole thing is it's like, as a comic book fan, imagine if you could go and train Batman's martial arts, or you could train with the style of Ra's al Ghul or something like that. So that's kind of the fun thing when you watch these movies, because a lot of them are loosely based on historical figures. You can actually trace down the line and learn that. So that's kind of how it all ties.
Yeah. And I will say this, one of the other cool things that I've learned a little bit from Kurtis, I don't know how it is in the rest of the US, but Southerners are very into family. I can tell you my family back 7 generations. I can give you their names back 7 generations. Come pretty close to their birthdays. But that's not something that's very common. But of course, I believe that it's important to know who you are. It's cool because Kurtis is like, yeah, you could trace these back from teacher to teacher to teacher to teacher. There's actually a genealogy of Kung Fu stuff, and I'm like, that is just so cool. That's one of those things that I kind of wish that more people knew,
Yeah, it's so similar to comic books. It's like being a fanboy. So I watched all these movies. One of our famous practitioners is named Wong Fei Hong, and there's like 1 billion movies about him. And there's a theme song even for this famous figure, hundreds of movies about him. And I was in Hong Kong training under one of the people who descended from him, and the theme song came on the TV in the background, and I had the biggest fanboy moment. It was like, oh my gosh, this is the music, and I'm here with the real people. Like, imagine it's like getting to train with Damian Wayne, and all of a sudden, the Batman theme song comes on. It's like, so I'm still a nerd through and through, but I'm a nerd that can kick some ass. So
can kick some ass.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. So for all of you, when you meet Kurtis, just remember that you say yes sir, no sir. Kurtis, when you speak with him, always
no direct eye contact.
No direct eye contact. Yeah. Kurtis should only see the top of your head, right?
It might be dangerous with me. It might be blinding. So.
That's one of your powers there, Sid.
Yeah.
There you go.
Tim looks like he's trying to emulate that too.
No, I half out of receding hairline, half out of quarantine desperation, I decided to join the Bold Guy Club for a little bit at least.
Yeah. All right. Well, my clock has 9:30, so let's have our indie comics review by Martin Piero, and then we'll join you as soon as the review is over. So, Tim, cue up Martin Piero from Cosmic Times, and let's see what he has to say.
Hey, Martin with Cosmic Times here to do another review on Silverline's program. Again, thanks, Roland, for having me on. I'm here to review comics that I funded through Kickstarters. But first, speaking of Kickstarters, I have a Kickstarter. Either it's running now or it's coming soon for From Blood Chapter 3. Actually, it's the complete series. You can get Chapters 1, 2, and 3 all in this single Kickstarter, so it's pretty cool. I like it. Check it out. You can find more about me and Cosmic Times and our Kickstarters at cosmictimes.net. Sorry for the shaky camera work doing the handheld thing right now. Quarantine, it's what we got. So today I'm going to be taking a look at Lady Freedom #1. Like I said, I backed this through Kickstarter. It's from Brass Ring Comics. Brass Ring Comics, yes. That's Larry Jarrell's new imprint. I have to say it's a much better name than his last imprint, which was called What the Flux Comics. I have to say Brass Ring is a better name. It sounds better anyways. So let's check out Lady Freedom #1. There it is. Lady Freedom from Brass Ring Comics. I backed this book on Kickstarter because Larry Jarrell and I go pretty far back, so I figured I'd support his project. Came in a pack with this print here. This is I believe Larry's art. Definitely something going on here. It's not really a print per se, because it's printed on regular paper. But yeah, this came with it, so that was a nice little bonus, I guess. But we're not going to talk about that, because we're here to talk about this comic. This is Lady Freedom, Enter Black Valkyrie. This, I believe it was pitched as being kind of a public domain comic, though I don't believe the character Lady Freedom was a public domain character. I don't think any of the characters in this book were public domain characters, at least none that I was familiar with. And then in reading the text in the back, I think they actually say Lady Freedom is based on Captain America. So they also mention she's Native American, a fact that is not portrayed in the story at all. So let's talk about the story. Okay, this is the Freedom verse begins. Yes, there's definitely a larger Freedom verse at play with this book, I have to say. It starts off with this kind of action sequence where something happens. I'm not quite sure what, and then we cut to our hero, Lady Freedom, who I guess is a good 8 feet tall, judging by unless this guy is 4 feet tall. She's about 8 feet tall. There's a weird thing with the panels. I'm not sure if she's standing in front of Lady Freedom or this is another. Oh, dude, that's kind of creepy right there, man. This guy's like checking her out. Anyway, so that's our main character, Lady Freedom, and there's something going on. This is where the book actually loses me. I think we're on page 3 and the book loses me. They reference all these other characters and all this other kind of backstory that the book doesn't give us. It speaks as if we should know what that backstory is, but it doesn't really reveal it to us so much. So the most of the action takes place here on Liberty Island with the Statue of Liberty, and our main villain, what was her name? Black Valkyrie. Yes, Black Valkyrie is our main villain, and there's some kind of Wonder Woman-ish backstory to her. I don't. Again, it feels like there's a bigger story here to be told than what's being told in this comic, and I think the reader's being denied something that really should be conveyed. Just from a storytelling point of view, I really think keeping all the backstory vague is a bad decision, but whatever. So they're going to attack these kids because of perfume. I don't know. So our heroes are on the way in their helicopter ship here. Lady Valkyrie and her sidekick, whose name I totally forget, but that's not important. So you have our big showdown on the head of the Statue of Liberty. Think a little bit like, I guess, the first X-Men movie, and she tears off a chunk of the Statue of Liberty and throws it at Lady Liberty. And I like this sound effect, kerplunk. That might be the highlight of the book for me. I love this panel. I love this sound effect. So the action just keeps going. There's this character here. She has something going on with, there's some other story to her that's not revealed in the book. It's hinted at, but not revealed. Lady Valkyrie pulls her mask off at one point. What? You? We don't know who it is. It doesn't mean anything to us. I have to say, this book really fails to convey a coherent story. I don't want to be, I'm not picking on it per se. I think it's a tribute to the kind of books that were published in the Golden Age, even if they're not Golden Age characters. All the dialogue is very golly gee, let's go get 'em type stuff. The story is very simplistic and basic, much of like you would have seen back in the 40s in comics. And I'm sure it's a feeling they were going for. The art's not my taste either. This doesn't really appeal to me. I think it's a little too blocky, not quite what I would have gone with. A lot of characters staring straight into the camera. That's never good. But again, it's a stylistic choice. This is what Larry went with. I'm not an artist. I can't do any better. So there's a little coloring error here, actually, because that's her costume, and they colored it like that there. Anywho, so that's our book. I don't want to reveal what happens at the end. The big twist, I think, was actually at this point, so I did spoil that a bit, where she reveals who she is, and it doesn't mean anything to us as the reader because it's not really explained why it's important. So that's the book, Lady Freedom. I backed it on Kickstarter. This might be your kind of book. It's just not my taste for books. It's from Brass Ring Comics. It is a classic, very 1940s classic superhero comic that sets up a larger universe. Unfortunately, it doesn't do a great job of revealing what that universe is about. It just kind of says it's there, and then the book ends. So that's about it. Like I said, it came the standard. I think I just got the standard cover. So this is, I'm sure there's variants and whatnot, but this is the standard cover, and it came with this print. So according to my Silverline Roland Mann guide, I am to give certain aspects of this book a grade. So let's say right off the bat, writing by a person named Art Belfield. Art Belfield's writing, I'm going to have to give it a C. It didn't appeal to me. Like I said, there's so much of the story that's vague, so much not explained, and it's, I don't know, it's very written almost like, I hate to say it, almost like those Burger King free comics you used to get, the Happy Meals, the Burger King's Kids Club. It doesn't really ring of modern comics, even for younger readers. Anyway, so I give the writing a C. The art, I gotta say, I wasn't thrilled. She looks like a blow-up doll here with this weird shaped mouth. She's a giant in some panels she's not. I don't care for this boxy shoulder look. Again, that's my personal taste. I can't draw, but from my aesthetic, what I like to read, I would give it a C. Maybe it's something you would like. I'm gonna give the writing a B. I'm not thrilled with the tails on the word balloons, but man, the sound effects are great in this book. Where's my curved plank? Well, they're wham! You know, the great classic comic sound effects. Very well done. Whump. Thud. And where was my favorite? There it is. Kerplank. So yeah, I'm going to give the lettering a B. It's almost an A. Some of the tails just kind of don't work for me, but I will give it a B. Literary merit. Like I said, there's vast pieces of the story that's missing that didn't make sense to a modern reader. If they're looking to go for that classic style, I guess I get it, but I'm going to have to unfortunately give it a D for literary merit. I didn't really get anything. Oh, spoiler, coming next. Lady Freedom, enter Miss Enigma. Anyways, so yeah, as far as literary merit, I'm going to give it a D. I didn't really think it brought much to the table. Fun factor, I'll give it a B. It's a fun, old-style comic. If you like the old-style, golden age type comics, check out Lady Freedom. This could be right up your alley. Wasn't my cup of tea, but like I said, it's a little fun, and I don't know, if you're into that golden age, fun, silly stories, this might be right up your alley. So overall, I'm going to give this book a C+. I wish I could have given it more, but I have to be honest with my review here on Silverline's show. It's not my show, but I'm going to be as honest as I can anyways. No digs to Larry Jarrell or Art Belfield. You guys did a great job. It's just not my cup of tea. So that's about it for Lady Freedom. I'm sure you can check it out. I think there's a website somewhere. Is there a website? They came with this card. BrassRingComics.com. So check that out, BrassRingComics.com. Brass Ring Comics, Lady Freedom, the beginning of the Freedomverse. All right, so that's it for Lady Freedom, issue 1. Again, I wish I could have had more to say about it. It just wasn't the kind of book I like to read, and that's not saying there isn't an audience for it. If you're into the silliness of Golden Age comics, I definitely recommend checking out Lady Freedom #1 from Brass Ring Comics. Again, just not the kind of book that appeals to me, and I don't think it really would appeal to kids either. It doesn't really play to modern sensibilities. Well, anyways, I'm sure you can find out more about Brass Ring Comics at BrassRingComics.com. And if you want to know more about me, check out CosmicTimes.net. You can follow us on Facebook at Cosmic Times Comics, Twitter at Cosmic Times, Instagram at Cosmic Times Comics, and what else? TikTok at just Cosmic Times. All those links will be on the Cosmic Times webpage at CosmicTimes.net. And again, check out our Kickstarter for From Blood Chapter 3, or the complete series. It's either coming soon or live right now. I'm not sure when this video is going to air, but that's about it. Hey, everybody out in Comic Land, stay safe, stay cosmic.
Ladies and gentlemen, back to you live from the internet. Silverline.
Thanks, Tim. And thank you, Martin, for the independent comic book review. We really appreciate that. At Silverline, of course, we're all about the independent comic. And I appreciate Martin and Wayne and Eric for coming on and doing some independent comic reviews. We are biased. We love Silverline, and we think you should all love Silverline and go support all the Silverline stuff. But there's also a lot of other independents out there, and we want to see you putting your entertainment dollars towards independent comics as opposed to corporate comics. So that's where we want to see you. So okay, this would be the point where we would have maybe a sponsor come in and talk a little bit about. And so I'm just going to say, if you're a potential sponsor and you are interested in sponsoring a little spot on Silverline Live, please reach out to us. I'm still in talks with the other sponsor that I mentioned, but I think COVID has affected them a little bit. So that's okay. But for any other potential sponsors, if you're interested in sponsoring a spot here on Silverline Live, reach out to us. We'll talk. All right. So now we're going to dive into the topic of our day, and that is our favorite parts of quarantine. It is no secret that everyone is on stay-at-home quarantine, unless you're essential people, which is basically first responders and medical people, that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, no one considers writers and artists essential employees, and so there we are. We are all at home, and so let's just talk, rather than focusing on all the negative stuff. And there's certainly a lot of negative stuff, right? Let's talk about the positives. So someone jump in, just say what has been positive for you in this quarantine life we're living. Okay, if you don't all speak, I'm going to call your names.
Okay, I'll jump in. Okay. So I usually work a pretty busy schedule. I get home usually like at 10 at night, so don't really have a lot of time to spend with the wife. So obviously we're spending a lot more quality time together. And I'm learning a lot. I'm learning that, there's a right way and a wrong way to do every house chore. And so that's kind of, I guess you could say, a positive, So that's one of the, as a joke, that's one of the positives. But all kidding aside, and I'm going to pay for that later.
Yeah.
I really like having the one thing that's positive is having the time to focus on things and do side projects. I'm working a little bit on my own comic project. Can't really say anything about it right now, but I finally have time to kind of fit that into my schedule. And for me, I think the thing that's so great is I love seeing the creativity of everybody. I mean, one of my favorite rap producers does live video jam sessions every night, and I would never be able to see him because he doesn't perform live. And I think a lot of people are taking a lot of advantage of this and expressing themselves and kind of letting all that pent out energy artistically. And I see for me, that's one of the coolest things that I see.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I will echo that it's been nice. My wife is working from home now, so we've been together, and that's going really well. We have 2 floors, so I work upstairs. She works downstairs. We have lunch together and everything. So yeah, we have had that, time together, which has been nice. And I really have been quite busy just with everything. I actually started a job, a teaching job, as all this was cranking up. I am working at a school that has 10-week courses. And so the 10-week course began in April. So really, literally right as lockdown was taking over, a class started. And so that, of course, has, keeping busy helps distract you from all of the negatives that we're going through. But I'm also striking a good balance. I had been working for a while to kind of get my life in order in a new place, because we had moved to Williamsburg from Orlando May of last year, or I moved May of last year. And it really as you guys know, when you move, it takes a while for everything to fall into place. So I've done a couple of comics editing jobs outside of Silverline, and did one of those this week, which was great. And I am getting a lot of writing done, some Silverline projects, some other writing. And so in a lot of ways, I'm doing what I would be doing anyway. You just can't go outside, or you can go out for a walk. But it's more the notion that the world is not out there right now, and the world is not grinding. That's the unfortunate side. And keeping busy, at least, is a way to distract from the anxiety over the direness and everything. And I do find I haven't gotten as much reading done as I thought I would. I'm getting some reading. I was reading a short story in a collection before we were logging on tonight. But I do find writing, you really do immerse yourself in a world. And so that is nicely distracting. And, for many, reading and watching shows is an escape. Getting into those worlds is an escape also. Probably true for everybody here. But so it's been kind of nice to have to immerse in different universes.
Yeah, I've experienced a lot of that. I've appreciated a lot just the fact that I don't have to wear anymore. Saves me a lot of gas money, but also I'm genuinely surprised how much time I spend on the road just driving to and from work.
Wow.
And that extra hour and a half in the day, I can do more of what I really have wanted to do, and I've gotten to write more. I've gotten to spend more time with my wife. And even just the other day, we were sitting on our deck and back, and I turned to her and I'm like, I think I might feel kind of melancholy when the quarantine's over.
Yeah.
And we were just thinking about it, and everything slowed down. It was almost like the thing that everyone was complaining that they didn't have enough of like 6 months ago, now they've got it in spades. And if you stop and just relax a little, there's some pretty cool job. So that's, a lot of people don't, and that has been really tough, and it's hard to minimize that. But the relaxed pace is really something that I will miss when we start going back to things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know how to compare it, but I work in an essential industry as part of my day job. I work in finance and lending, so we're part of the whole economic relief system, SBA loans, all that stuff you hear about.
I don't think I knew you did that. as a day job. Can you tell us? Unless it's prying, can you tell us a little bit about what it is you do as your day job?
Well, there's some things I can't talk about thanks to
Sure.
the Bank Secrecy Act. But
Sure.
it gives me loads of inspiration for writing characters with all the fun people you run into, and also as knowing some of the ins and outs of the financial system that some people don't. So writing conspiracy type stuff or editing conspiracy is almost too real at times. But it's been interesting because now the job that normally be fast paced is slow to a snail's pace. We'll field some questions and then pass it off to the Small Business Administration. There are some accounts we handle ourselves, but unfortunately, kind of the opposite of Sid. I have not too much to do during my day, so I find myself all I do is read and let the existential dread set in. But sort of my positive side of that is, like Kurtis, I am a strong man of Silverline. I compete in powerlifting and Olympic weightlifting, so I have a bit of equipment. I'm very privileged in that I have a good set of equipment in my garage that I'm turning into more of a home gym. And it's always been my dream to turn my day job into owning my own sort of commercial powerlifting gym. So,
oh, that would be cool.
I'm kind of using this opportunity now, since I'm luckily still working, still earning income, to sort of acquire what gear I can when most of it's sold out, but begin stockpiling my gear so that way when I do look at opening my gym, I am essentially just paying property insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to hit up Kurtis for some tips and on how to get it started and things to avoid, right? Things
Absolutely,
to not do, mistakes that not that Kurtis made any mistakes. I'm just saying,
a lot.
We can always learn from mistakes of others, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's kind of my major positive right now is now I have more time to kind of focus in on that part, as well as since I do all my workouts in my garage now, I don't have to head out to the gym or drive to meet the rest of my power team. I just do it all here, and then get to working on many things for the website or
so Tim,
the scripts.
I see a message here that they can only hear everyone reacting. So you may not be coming through.
It says my mic is pushing through.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right.
It's
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just saw a message said that they only hear Oven. Hey, Oven! Said only hears everyone reacting. So
interesting. Yeah, because
not sure if we were reacting to you or maybe to somebody else. So
let me try something.
I don't have the volume on, of course, on the stream, so I'm not sure who was talking because we see Alex. So
right.
Hey, Ed joined. Hey, Ed, what's up? Ed Ferrara. So I guess
let me check something real quick. Everyone in the stream, I'm gonna deafen you real quick, so sorry about that. All right, so let's testing. Yeah, I can hear myself on stream. So we're okay.
Yes, quarantine it's been different, but not too different, to be honest. Just doing a lot more drawing, and I guess the favorite thing is to get to spend more time with the people I love and more quality time.
Cool.
My family, my girlfriend, and my dog's at home. So
yeah,
it's all good.
Okay. Tim,
less money, but
yes, that's unfortunate, right? Tim, I'm sorry, were you I know you checked out the stream, were you going to add something additionally?
Oh yeah, so in addition to spending more time kind of in the early stages of like the 10-15 year plan of eventually opening a gym, I'm now have more time to deal with the many assets of streaming and dealing with Silverline stuff. So looking over more scripts a little more timely and dealing with blog stuff as fast as I can.
Yeah, because I keep pushing things your way, saying, Tim, can you do this? Tim, can you do this?
Yeah.
And I know I've told all you guys this, and Curtis has got it down. I was like, hey, Curtis, can you do this? No, Roland, I can't do that, man. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. Okay, Curtis, I understand perfectly. You got to take care of it, man. No, but yeah, I think I think for me, it's the same. It's being able to see a lot of the things, people doing things live that you would not have seen. This is a live confession here. Everyone knows I'm a big metal music guy, right? I don't like country music. I don't like hip hop or pop music. I'm pretty, and I know that people have said, well, you're kind of like well, what's the word I'm looking for when one track mind kind of thing. Not biased, but anyway, I listen to metal music, right?
Yeah.
Well,
monofocused.
Yeah, I guess so. I also really like bluegrass music.
Oh yeah.
And when I say bluegrass, I don't mean country. I mean banjo, fiddle, nasally sound like this, right? I like that stuff, right? So I have found a channel that has a lot of on Facebook. That's a lot of bluegrass. And I've been watching some bluegrass live.
Great.
So yeah.
Has there ever been a bluegrass metal hybrid? Because really
yes,
there should be. Yeah.
I can send some links, but a bunch of my favorite metal bands have featured banjo.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Ro, you need to give them a sample of what you've also been teaching yourself.
Not this week. That'll be later. I need to do a little bit more. I've been trying to teach myself how to play the spoons.
Nice.
All right.
So my problem right
man.
now, I told BJ, I said I got to get me a bigger pair of spoons because I have problems. They're a little bit like holding drumsticks.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm a drummer, so you gotta hold the drumsticks just so. And part of the spoons is that bottom spoon. You've got to hold it, and I have a tendency to let it loose from the bottom part, and that's where my main problem goes when I'm playing. But I need a little bit bigger spoons for me to play. So. Once quarantine is over, or maybe next time I head to Walmart, I'll go out and see if I can get like two slightly bigger spoons. There's a spoon. I don't think you call them spooners. There's a spoon player. I watch her pretty regular, and she was giving some online lessons. I'm like, I would like to learn that.
There you go.
So yeah, I think that's. That is something that, for me, as a positive, has been discovering a lot of new stuff online. As people have, I mean, we're using Zoom tonight, and I think Zoom has kind of gone bonzos because everybody's turning to Zoom. It's because it's easy to use, and there's certainly the free levels. And so we're getting to see a lot of that. A lot of people kind of doing cool stuff that you would not normally see. The other cool thing for me is the other positive thing for me has really been very much a Silverline thing, and I take it because people do have more time now than pre-quarantine. Like, for instance, Alex. Okay, I'm gonna, since he's here, I'm gonna put him on the spot. His thumbs up. Okay, so I know that he said he doesn't have as much money, and I absolutely feel for anyone who's not working. I consider myself very fortunate that I'm still needed at Full Sail, even though my workload is kind of increased. I can talk about that later. But Alex is able to, instead of going to work, he is able to spend more time drawing, and so he's able to focus more on getting art done. Well, it's not just Alex, but it's other artists as well find themselves in the same. Becca, who's not here, same way. She was able to, she has a day job that keeps her busy for most of the part, but when that went away, she was like, I've got all this time now. Let me do some stuff. So we're trying to, even find some more stuff for her to do. And I think we got some cool stuff that is another Sid related thing. But so for me, that's been kind of a blessing because, and on top of that, Alex is super recruiting. There's been several artists he's reached out to and talked to and said, hey, here's what Silverline is, and thumbs up. Here's what Silverline is. Here's what we do. He explains, he lays it all out to them, and then I kind of duplicate all that when I reach out to them, and they're like, yeah, I want to draw. And so I think a lot of them are finding, that they have more time. And I can't remember if we talked about this last week or not, but just within the last 2-3 weeks, we've added two new projects. Both of them Sid driven, but two new projects to the Silverline schedule. They are literally in the early phases. These are the kind of things that we already had. I'm like, Sid, can you get a script to me? I need it in 3 days, right? And it's funny because this is the kind of the thing, and Sid, you probably remember doing this. This is the kind of thing we teach in class, and a lot of the students are like, yeah, we don't have to write scripts that fast. I need a whole month to do this. And I'm like, sometimes it works that way, and in the perfect scenario, it does. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't always. Now, Sid's certainly going to have more time between the first issue and the second and then the third issues. But this first one, we needed it really quickly because we got an artist who's ready to work. And, and certainly in my industry experience is that you don't want to, I love them dearly, but you don't want to let an artist's attention move somewhere else because it will go somewhere else and their attention will go to a different place. Yeah. So wait a minute. No, Macintosh, I don't want you to relaunch, reboot. Oh, stop.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm checking. No, don't.
I was going to say that's some of the things I was talking about being immersed in, and it was nice to have those projects for me because in a comics world is quite a different world from our world, and so it was kind of nice to dive into those.
It is, and another thing, and Sid, I'm going to keep using you for an example here. Another thing I try to teach students, and this kind of went into, it's not really a craft thing, but it's talking about some of the positives of quarantine, is that when I needed something quickly, I turned to Sid because I've got 30 years. Oh, Sid, I got to send you some pictures. Did I send you those pictures already? Oh, I got to send you. So I sent them to Noelani. It's a picture of me and you on a panel in New Orleans from 1990.
Oh, wow.
You have considerable amount. Well, we both had considerably more hair than we have now. I'll send those to you. There's funny because they're cut in tiny little strips, like someone had taken the photo and then just cut all the excess on the top. It was you, me, Stephen Butler, Thomas Fortenberry, Rob Pettit, and somebody else. I can't remember now.
Joe Lansdale.
No.
I'm joking.
I don't think it was Joe. I can't.
We were on panels. I think in
with Joe Lansdale.
Biloxi. I think you and I were on a panel with Joe, weren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You know what? This I'm pretty sure this was New Orleans, but I'm probably going to post them to the Silverline site, just because it'd be fun Silverline stuff, early Silverline stuff. But my whole going back to the whole quarantine thing is because this happened so quickly. And part of it has to do with the artist's style and the thing that he wanted to draw and the thing that you and I had already talked about anyway. It was kind of a project that was there and then disappeared. But it's the kind of thing, it's like I knew that I needed this quickly. I pick up the phone. Well, not really. I pick up the Facebook and say, hey, Sid, I need this. Can you do this? And of course, I've worked with Sid long enough to know that, his answer was going to be sure, and so I think that's been a super thing about the quarantine is that we got, and of course, Alex is just lining them up for me. So I'm anticipating probably in 2 weeks, I'm going to be able to come on here and say, hey, we've got another 2 or 3 projects in the works. I hope so anyway. So
It's interesting though. Like you said, we had a port project that was dormant for a year.
Yep.
And suddenly it's alive again. And that's, it's the way the creative world works. I think,
is.
It just.
Yeah, it is, and it's part of one of the reasons I know Tim and Kurtis have been part of this. Part of the way that I've kind of got us going is that I've got we've got a little folder of pitches, and I want to hold those pitches there. That way, when an artist comes up and says, I'm interested in drawing. I want to draw, a horror story. I just go to my folders and I go, horror. Here's a horror. Here's a horror. And then I send them, okay, look, here's 3 horror ideas. Which one do you like? For writers who, and then they pick one out, and then I reach to the back to the writer and say, okay, it's happening. We need some stuff quickly, right? That first issue is always going to happen quickly. But this one of the things I'm kind of warning is like, look, because a guy asked me recently if he could give me some pitches, and I said, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to have them. And I said, but here's the thing: if you're anxious to make this thing happen, don't give it to me, because I'm going to take it and we're going to talk about it a little bit. I'm going to stick it in a folder, and it may stay there for a week. It may stay there for months. So if you need this project to happen now, don't give it to me, because I'm not going to make that kind of promise. But for Silverline, one of the things I want us to have that there. I want us to have a little pocket full of pitches, so that when those artists do pop up, I can say, here's 5 pitches. Are any of these interesting to you? And then that's how we'll go.
Yeah.
So what else? Anything else?
I can say I am working out. We were talking about that. I actually need to get some of Kurtis's videos, but I've been doing YouTube videos. We have a gym, and it's closed, of course, and so you have to do something different. And probably late last year, my doctor told me I needed to lose weight, and so I had actually lost like 9 pounds, and I went to see him in February, right before COVID really started, cranking up. And he goes, "That's great. Lose about 10 more and you'll be good." And so there is a certain amount of comfort eating going on with this and everything. And I realize I can't afford to sit here for 2 months and eat and not move. And so I have been pretty diligent. And actually, I think I'm actually losing at a little bit faster rate because I'm not just doing a treadmill or walking in the neighborhood. I'm doing varied things, HIIT training and different things like that. And so managing enough intensity that burns off a little anxiety also, and keeping up with what I needed to do.
If you ever want to learn how to deadlift 400 pounds or do an Olympic snatch, I got you covered.
Okay. Maybe that's plan B. But no, maybe that's next.
Maybe the next virus.
Yeah.
So one thing that I kind of feel like with this whole thing is like, it's kind of like a moment to take stock, right? So I have tons of books, movies, stuff I haven't watched, but then even more so just like of everything, like personal life and stuff like that, and kind of Brent hit upon it too. It's kind of nice to have the time with family, with people, and you kind of, you cherish that. And it's nice to be able to afford that time. And, that's kind of where I kind of find my comfort. It's like, all this is going on and I can kind of sit back and take stock of everything in my life and, start to realize how lucky I am. It could be so much worse in so many ways, so it's a horrible situation, but there's a lot to be learned,
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that's certainly a positive, at least I would hope so, for everyone, because as Brent pointed out, he realized how much time he spends on the road. And there's a lot of people who spend a lot of time on the road. I remember living in LA, and some of those people spend, Dean, who worked on the first issue of Cat and Mouse. I know he told me when he moved, he had an 1.5-hour commute one way. He spent 3 hours a day on the road to his job. I'm sitting there thinking, 3 hours a day. Do you realize how much work you could get done in 3 hours? You know, even if you could take 2 hours off of that or an hour off of that, I'm like, that's to me, that's valuable time that you can't get back. Hey, it looks like John is able to connect to us. I don't know if he can hear us. John, you're going to need some headphones or some earbuds. I don't know if he can hear us yet. But it looks like he's certainly connected. Maybe he'll say something when he gets it working.
The ellipsis has stopped dancing.
Yeah, I see his face now. I can see his picture. So he's at least got part of the battle done.
It only took a full podcast.
Yeah. Well, and so now here's the weird thing though. John was with us 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah. So he should have had all of his bugs worked out.
No, new camera.
Oh, good. You also you need
I thought I had
headphones or
worked out the
earbuds
bug.
because we're getting an echo, dude.
Oh crap.
And that concludes our Silverline broadcast day.
I've been posting that, I guess, every week in our little group chat, and I didn't post it this week. You know, hey, remember to sit on the left side of your screen and remember to wear your headset. And I didn't post that this week.
You don't post it, we immediately revert to anarchy.
So, but yeah. So, well, glad you got the bugs worked out, John. See, I'm telling you, Tim, look up real quick. Look up Voltan from Flash Gordon.
Oh God!
And put an image up on the screen for everybody to see. Voltan, I think it's spelled Voltan.
Yeah.
From Flash Gordon in the 1980s.
Oh, this is perfect.
Yeah, there you go. A good headset there.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. Did you put Voltan up yet? Voltan
Not yet. I'm getting pulled
Okay,
through,
good. Still looking.
and now I got to set up the drop-in
that
window
work?
here.
That's good. Yeah, John, how are you, man?
It's what I get for updating the Windows 10 and not retesting it.
So John, since we've already gone through this phase, we're going to still give you a chance. Tell everybody who you are. We already kind of told people who you are, but tell everybody who you are and say hi.
Do what?
Oh, I think he dropped.
Uh-oh, no, didn't he drop?
Oh no!
Just when we got the Voltan picture.
Oh, that's great. That's a great. That's perfect. So there's a moment in. I'm a huge fan of the Flash Gordon movie, by the way. There's a moment in Flash Gordon when Voltan learns that Flash Gordon is still alive because they think he's dead, right? Mm-hmm. And he goes, "Gordon's alive!" Right? So I did a show last year with John. Oh, there he looks like he's back. I did a show last year with John, and every time I came up to him, it was like, "Zachary's alive!" Right? Because Dean Zachary was there with us as well, and yeah, we tried to get we found a little breastplate for him.
There we go. Now we got the.
We found a breastplate for him and a little golden.
I'm not wearing the gold bra.
Where I'm drawing the line.
So
we appreciate
so John, we off air, or well, not you were off, but yeah, there you go. That's great, Voltan and John there. So give people a brief introduction of who you are and what you do, and then what you're working on for Silverline.
Well, apparently I'm also a time traveler, so I could go back in time to be one of the stars of Flash Gordon. But I'm doing inks on Friar Rush. Finished issue 1, working on issue 2. Kind of like what I have right here.
Sweet. Now, John, are you going to be able to join the inker session next week and go over some inking stuff?
I thought I said I would.
Oh, excellent. Good. Good.
I think so.
Well, this is just your confirmation here for all the world to hear. So you'll be one of the ones. So next week, and we'll tell people, but next week will be inking. And so John will certainly be one of the inkers there.
Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning.
Unless the hardware decides it wants to play games again.
Oh, no, don't do that. Yeah, so now, John, you've inked some other stuff, though. So tell folks what some of the other stuff is that you have inked. Because I know you did did you do some
other
stuff with Mitch?
that I have done. I did Back to Earth with Mitch for the 901 anthology. And I've actually done sketch cards for both Dynamite and Upper Deck.
Cool. Excellent.
So
very good. And so I actually met John at the show in Memphis, which is where Dean Zachary let me know that he was a Brian Blessed lookalike. And John had some, I'm not sure what you were working on at the time, but John had some inks there, and Dean is like, you got to go look at them, man. They're good inks. And of course, we didn't have an inker for Fire Rush yet. It was one of the projects that was sitting there needing inks. And went over and looked at them, and we talked about it a lot. And I looked at them multiple times. I'd sneak over there when John wasn't at his table, and flip through his inks. And if I'm not mistaken, John, did we ask you at the show if you were interested in inking in Fire Rush?
At Memphis Comic and Fantasy.
Yeah. So, and then John has been diligently working on that since then. So, the first issue of which we mentioned at the top of the hour, written by Sid. So, John, we've kind of all been around the horn a little bit. What about you? We're trying to find the positives in the quarantine. What kind of positives are you taking out? Have you taken out of this quarantine that we're living in? And I just got a message from Floramonte, says he's going to be able to join us, and we got a couple questions, so that's good.
Cool.
So, John, what about it? What's positive about quarantine for you?
I mean, I have to go to the day job and work 8 hours like it's just crazier there because some facilities and other places have been shut down, so I'm having to deal with more truckers than normal. So I mean, it's just what it is there. I mean, that's
what is your day job?
Nothing's really changed for me. I'm a security guard at a postal facility.
He carries a gun and not a sword.
No. I'm not postal police. That's totally different.
Actually, what I want to get him is one of those big maces like Voltan had from Flash Gordon, and I think he needs to carry that around on the job.
I was actually at a convention once, and the dude actually was selling really good like swords and axes and stuff. He had this humongous battle axe, double-sided battle axe. He goes, "You look like a big guy. Try this out." And I grabbed it. I was like, "This has actually got some decent weight to it." He's like, "You're the first person I've seen swing that thing around with one hand."
Yeah, a mace. That's what you need. You need to get you one of those big maces, like Voltan has. I got to go watch Flash Gordon. It's been some time. So I'm a huge fan of the movie. I showed it to my kids. They were kind of like, "Eh." I'm like, "No, I'm disowning you both. You can't say meh Flash Gordon. Oh, just can't."
Roland,
and the wedding march is important too. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
Right.
Yeah. So, what is it? Little known fact: the wedding march from Flash Gordon is the wedding march that BJ and I used at our wedding. So when we got married, she marched down the aisle to Brian May and Queen playing the wedding march.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Look at that.
That's perfect.
I still have it. Nobody's bought it.
Oh, they probably want a photo to go with it, right?
No.
Where can people go to buy it?
They can message me on Facebook.
There you go.
We'll make sure that at the what we'll do on our YouTube is make sure all the social media links are there. I think I got everybody from all the past weeks so far. You guys can certainly go check them out. If you see I've missed anything, let me know. But I generally go back tomorrow and make sure I'll put the front card, and then I put the next week's videos and stuff like that at the end. I'll fix that up tomorrow and make sure that's all good on YouTube. So. We haven't been making clips, guys, on and maybe it's just because
I made a couple.
Did you on
Yeah.
Twitch?
Yeah.
What the heck? How come I didn't see them? I have to go back and look.
They ought to be saved there.
Yeah, they should. It should
Yeah.
be.
I think it's saved next to the file or something.
Yeah. So
Can I go ahead and give you guys a couple of
Yes.
questions?
Yeah. BJ says we've got some questions from viewers. So
Yes,
what do you
and they're off of YouTube, and it's from Hyper Potato. The first question is, what are the chances of getting the Silverline crew to Heroes Con 2021?
So I can probably address that. Heroes Con is for those who know or those who don't know. Heroes Con is probably one of the better comic book conventions in the South. It's run by Sheldon Drum, who is very much a friend of comics, and he was very much a friend of Silverline back in the day. I reached out to him about 2 years ago, I think. And his response to me, which I totally understand, was, you guys need to get into Diamond. And he goes, once you get books into the Diamond catalog, he says, we'll talk. Sheldon he runs the show there, but he's a retailer. So he wants us to make sure we have books that retailers can get so that he can promote us as being there. And we're on the path. We are headed there. And certainly I don't know that we'll be able to, I'll reach out to Sheldon again. I certainly don't mind. Alex gets thumbs up. Sheldon knows me. I've known him for many, many years. I have never been to a Heroes Con, and I would love to go. It's one of the Southern cons that I've never been to, and I would absolutely love to go there. So I will reach out again and see what Sheldon has to say. Otherwise, it might be. What month is that?
What city is it in, or is it in different cities?
I think it's in Raleigh. I think
it's in. I think so. I think that's.
I could probably make it to that.
Yeah.
If it happens.
Yeah. So I think it's June of 2021, and it's possible because we might
quarantine may be over by then. So.
Yeah. Well, for us. So here's the deal: we've got to get a couple of miniseries finished, okay? And Cat and Mouse and Kalos are obviously the first ones that are going to make it. Once those the Galaxy giving a thumbs up there, and see once those get finished, then we'll be able to start soliciting comics, because we're not going to solicit a comic until we're ready to give them the whole thing, because the last thing we want to do as a publisher is offer them issue 1, issue 2, and then 6 months later offer them number 3, because I can guarantee you nobody's going to remember it or buy it. So we're going to have to, this is part of our the Silverline plan, is that we crowdfund the individual issues as we work toward. Once those are done, then we will take those to Diamond, and maybe if there are other distributors still around at that point in time, we'll take them to the other ones, but certainly to Diamond. So we're pretty close. We're working on the 3rd issue of the first 2 books that we'll get there, and so I feel confident that in less than a year we'll be able to, or in a year's time we'll be able to do that. When exactly, I don't know. So I don't know if it will be by June of 2021 or not. I would love to say yes, Silverline will have a president at Heroes Con in 2021, but my goal is certainly Heroes Con in 2022. So, but here's one of the things you can do to help. Okay, if you want to see Silverline at Heroes Con, you should reach out to Heroes Con and say, hey, you guys should invite Silverline to be a guest at 2021. And if they can hear fans asking to have us there, that gives them more incentive to answer me or to reach out to us and see if we can't make it. So yeah, if you want us at Heroes Con, you get your friends together and each of you post and say, hey, we want Silverline there.
Cool. And
Question,
Hyper
thank
Potato said that it was confirmed it's in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte,
and
okay.
Usually Father's Day weekend.
Which I think is in June.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It's in June.
Yeah.
The second question that Hyper Potato had was any plans to make the entire Silverline back catalog available on Indie Planet?
Yes. Slowly working on that. Right now there are as far as back catalog goes, you can get Silverstorm Volume 2 as a classic trade. When we say classic, we mean in black and white. We are working on getting these colored. You can get Demon's Tales and you can get Cray all in black and white. The rest of them, Pendulum, Manus Files, Marauder, we're all still working to get those cleaned up. So part of the process, and part of the reason they're not readily available, is that obviously these were done in the 90s, early 90s, and then also late 90s. And a lot of the artwork was not available to us to use. I mean, it's been all over fandom now. Some of the pages were, but most of them were not. So I had to scan the comic books. And if you've ever scanned a newsprint comic book, you know that it ends up with a dirty scan. And so we're having to take those scans. And when I say we're having, what I mean is I'm having to take all of those and clean those up a page at a time. So I am working diligently on those. Sirens may actually end up being the first one that's ready to go classic. And that's just because Barb, I should say the next one that's ready to go, because Barb has been jamming on the colors for that. So I am working on all the others as well. The way I tend to work on them is when I find a colorist, I clean up some of the pages so that they can have them to color, and then I move on to something else. And once they've delivered so many pages, I say, oh, I need to clean up more of those pages, and then I go back to that. So the long-winded answer to your question is yes, eventually it will all be available on Indie Planet. We love Indie Planet. We love the working with Indie Planet and the way that it's there. So all you Silverline folks, if you do not have a Kablam account, we need to make sure you get one, and I'll go over that later. Part of the reasons why, but. Who was that again? Hyper Potato?
Hyper Potato. And they also just said, Roland sent me a Demon's Tale trade, and that meant the world to me. Love his creations.
Oh! Boom, 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 boom. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that.
And with that, we got another question in from Royal Airships off of YouTube.
Okay.
How many different titles are you hoping to publish? What genres?
Good question. So I don't have, as far as, so that's a two-pronged question for the how many. Okay. How many? I don't know. There's the maximum is however many I can handle. And when I say that, Tim's nodding his head there. Usually what happens, I'm like, hey, Tim, can you edit this? Hey, Kurtis, can you edit this? Right. If it's not something I can do, I'm reaching out, for help all the time. So for that, just as many as we can handle. I mean, there's really no upper limit or maximum for us. We might eventually reach that. We might just have to say, oh, no, stop. We can't do anymore. At this point in time, we haven't reached that. It's something that we're having fun with. I think I saw a thumbs up from Alex again there, right?
That might have been a thumbs down.
I think he did a thumbs down for reaching a ceiling.
Oh, okay. All right. I got you. Yeah. So as far as Diamond goes, though, so that's like what we're doing here, right? As far as what we're going to push through Diamond, initially it's only going to be one per month. Partly because as we get into this, as Silverline begins to reestablish contacts with Diamond, I haven't talked to anybody in Diamond in 20 years. So I understand some of my contacts are still there, and I've kept, in contact with them, but not through a publisher distributor relationship. So I'll have to reestablish those links, but only one per month, probably for at least The way I see it happen, this is the way I envision it. The first month Silverline goes to Diamond, you're going to see Cat and Mouse 1. Next month is Cat and Mouse 2. Next month is Cat and Mouse 3. Next month is Cat and Mouse 4. Next month, Kalis number 1. Next month, Kalis number 2. Next month, Kalis number 3. Next month, Kalis number 4. Next month is Cat and Mouse Trade. Next month will be something new. Maybe the Bloodline one shot, maybe Divinity. I don't know, but that's kind of the rough plan at this point in time. That's kind of the business plan at this point in time. Keep in mind that this can change. Where it's not set in stone. This is one of the things that I absolutely loved about Malibu Comics when I was there, is they were very agile as a company, and they could make moves and changes easily and quickly. And that's what I hope that Silverline will be able to be as well, is that we can shift gears and we can make decisions that will help us pretty quickly. Good questions, Hyper Potato. Thank you. No, that was Airship something, right?
The last one was Royal Airships.
Thank you, Royal Airships. Yeah, that's good questions. All right. Well, what else? Any other questions there, BJ?
That's it for now.
Fantastic questions. Thank you very much. All right, guys. Well, I'm seeing my clock is at 10:30. Anything else you guys want to add about the positives of quarantine?
I'd say this is the first opportunities I've had to visit with everybody and get to know some of you on the show. I'm usually working at this time, so this is like, bring it full circle. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, lest any of you think so, Kurtis has been invited. He's just been busy. Yeah. So, yeah. So I snuck a peek at some of the chats. I haven't been able to see all of them, but I noticed that there was a hint dropped about what we're going to do with streaming. And as this is the end of April, I guess we can kind of go ahead and talk about that. Is that in June, because these streams you guys have reacted really well to it, and the Silverline crew is growing, which is a very good thing. We're actually going to increase to 3 streams a week in June. So more details will, as we get closer, probably in about 2 weeks, we'll start talking about it. But we are going to go to 3 streams per week starting in June. So very excited about that. Gives us more chance to talk about all the cool Silverline stuff we do. And guys, we have a lot of cool projects in the works. And that's the thing. I think, again, we're talking about the thumbs up from Alex, right? That is certainly one of the things that keeps me excited about this quarantine, is that these things just keep happening, right? They just keep coming, and it's exciting. It's exciting to be, we talked about, I think we were offline when we talked a little bit about, we talked about Brent getting Twitter, right? And you don't have Twitter, you had Instagram. Right? Yeah. There's a lot of, you can get caught up in a lot of the negativity on Twitter, and I would encourage you, if you're on Twitter, to don't get caught up in all the negativity. There's so many positive things that you can do, and one of the things we've tried to do with Silverline is that last week, and I'll probably try to do it again tomorrow in support of the stream, is just say, hey, Silverline has all of these really cool creators. You should follow them because they're creating cool stuff. And everyone who has a Twitter was tagged, I believe. And if you weren't tagged, let me know, and I'll make sure that I add you. But I think I got everybody whose Twitter I have anyway. So yeah, I think it's on us also to kind of to help set the tone and set the mood. Don't be negative. Let's be positive. I mean, we're making comic books, how cool is that? So I think we should be positive because we're doing cool stuff and we're doing fun stuff. Let's leave the negative stuff to everybody else. So, yeah. Was that just a general grunt and groan, or?
From me?
Yeah.
That was a grunt of positivity.
Perfect.
Okay.
It was a positive.
That's right.
We probably should mention too. Brent is going to be soon on a podcast called Sci-Fi Diner, and so people should go out and subscribe to that now. Because that'll be coming up, and I'm doing an interview with them Friday.
Nice, good, good. So hopefully we'll, because Silverline has a publicity guy now who is Scott Wakefield, who is also a creator for an up-and-coming Silverline book called Steam Patriots, which is cool. I think I told Scott's story before, but if I didn't, I'm going to tell it again. I'll probably tell it a second, and third, fourth time on the stream, right? So when Silverline first, the website first went public, which was June of last year, right? I didn't even have a submissions tab on there. There's one on there now, but I didn't have a submissions tab on the website. Scott, who is a former student of mine, dropped me a line and said, are you taking submissions? I'm like, no, not really. There was just too much stuff to do. We weren't ready for submissions, right? I'm like, no, I'm not really taking submissions. And I'm like, he's a former student and he was a good student, right? So I'm like, but what do you got? Right? Let me see what you got. So he told me he gave me the pitch and showed me some artwork. And I'm like, dang, I like this, dude. You like it. And see, here's what I tell my students this, right? So if you know me, you know that I like to chase rabbits. You bring something up. There's a couple of things, right? American Civil War gets me chasing rabbits, right? College football can get me chasing rabbits. Comic books get me chasing rabbits, right?
And bluegrass music.
And that's a secret.
Bluegrass.
That I just confessed to the world, right? So my more how can I say this? My students that are paying attention, and which Tim was in one of those classes, right? They know that we'll be in class and they'll feed me something like, Abraham Lincoln should have done something. Oh, I go on, and 20 minutes later, I'm like, what does this have to do with our comic books, right? So I'm an avid history buff, particularly American history. Well, Steam Patriots is about the American Revolution. It's steampunk American Revolution. And I'm like, man, I am all over that. Yeah, I'm like, that is cool. Let me see what you got. Tell me your story. And so that's an upcoming Silverline project that's still in the kind of the early phases. John Medic is overseeing that one as the editor. But yeah, so Scott has taken on the task of publicity, and he is reaching out to the sci-fi folks to get us on, get some podcasts going, get some interviews, help us be a little more out there, because for some reason comic book creators just aren't that aggressive when it's about getting some publicity and trying to get out there. So Scott's doing that for us and starting off with a bang. So I appreciate that. Scott, if you're listening, thanks. Keep at it.
I feel attacked by that comment, Roland.
Which comment? that you're not aggressive?
Comic creators aren't aggressive.
You know what it is? It's that Roland is aggressive. When we were at Daytona, the rest of us were sitting by. Roland, you don't know this. We were watching you like other people watch animals at the zoo. But it was fun because you were jumping in there like, oh, I've got the coolest thing you've ever seen. And I'm like, I'm even talking about my own book going, I think it's pretty good. Is it the best thing you've ever read? I don't know. I don't know what you've read
nice
lately.
Pictures.
But you'd be like, oh, it's so good. It's going to blow your mind. So
that works for Roland, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, and all of you guys know, I mean, it's the worst thing doing self-promotion. And it for whatever reason, it works for Roland. It doesn't for me. Like years ago, Roland and I would be at cons. And we'd have a table, and Roland would go, come on, everybody, look, it doesn't hurt to look. It doesn't cost anything to look.
That's right. I remember that.
He goes to the bathroom, or something. Somebody comes along and I go, hi, come over and look. Doesn't cost anything to look. I get the guy that goes, you better believe it doesn't cost me anything. And come at me, bud.
Yeah. Like when we were at Daytona, it was me, Sidney, and John sitting next. And some comes up and says, I only have enough for one book, so why don't you all give me your best pitch?
I remember that guy,
and
yeah.
Sidney's like, well, this is a really good book. And I'm like, I don't know. It's a comic book. It's good, I think. And then John's like, oh, let me tell you about my book. It's have you seen the show Chuck? And it's so great. And she buys his book, and I'm like, I want to buy his book now. So yeah, it's a gift.
It's not often we get into the Hunger Games situation like we did there.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, get away from me, man. Don't make me feel bad about myself. See,
I think
that's
one
the
of
kind
the
of salesman I am. Get away from me.
One of the things I'm going to have to do then, it sounds like, is get you guys to come up with the pitch, right? So there's the pitch that you have to give, like when you're trying to convince a publisher or an editor or something like that. That's different, right? Here's my story. But then there's the pitch that you have to give to convention attendees, right? They're coming by your booth, and you've got just a smidgen of time. And if you're like, well, what's the story about? I don't know. It's a couple people down in New Orleans, and they get some mafia people get involved, and then there's just like this. I'm bored already, right? And so you have to figure out how to perfect that 30-second pitch. And we may start practicing that on this stream, because you guys you got to be able to figure out what it is to make them go, hey, that sounds cool, let me look at your book, right? And that's I'm not suggesting that's easy. It's certainly easier for some projects than others. I've been given the cat and mouse one so long, I can do it just like that. But what's funny is the about a month ago, somebody said, so what's your pitch? What's your pitch for Cray? And I'm like, it's a barbaric kind of Conan kind of thing. Barbaric. I don't really know. So it had been a while since I had to pitch that one, but yeah, I think those are important.
And repeating, which we do a pretty good job here of repeating our titles, but
yes.
That's something that John Steakley, who wrote Vampires with the Dollars, I think had a dollar
also wrote
sign.
One of my favorite books called Armor.
Armor and Vampires. His dad was like a car salesman. And so now I've never been at a book signing with him, but apparently he would be really aggressive at like mall book signings. Dean Anderson has told stories about that. But I was at a con one time where I don't know if he was the Toastmaster, but the original trade edition of Scary Book was kind of what I was there with. And he starts going, what was that again? The Scary Book. And he repeated the name of it like 25 times. Just, he goes, that's what you got to do. Scary Book, over and over and over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's what we need to remember and apply the car salesman.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And you got to be able to do it in 30 seconds, because, if they're not there to see you or to see comics, they are interested in just moving on along, and they're going to look at the artist, right? Alex is at the table drawing, right? And John is there doing some stuff, right? They're going to stop and look at the artist and flip through some of their pages. But for the writers, right, you got to be able to, here's my story, and you got to be able to do quick, because they are anxious to move on to the next eye candy thing. And I don't say that in a negative way. I mean, it is what it is. I'm the same way, right? If I'm walking around a convention, I want to look at the stuff. I want to see the artwork. If I see the guy sitting there with a table full of all of his books, I'm not necessarily interested in stopping to talk to him, because he's sitting right beside an artist who's, big science fiction battleship thing. I'm like, that looks cool. I want to see that, right?
Yeah. Or The Rock is like, 3 tables.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, just out of curiosity, what are your thoughts on like sometimes the whole pitch or the whole thing is like comparing two things? Like it's like Titanic meets blah blah blah.
See, I'm not a big fan of that. I get it, and I get that actually some people teach that, and I'm just not a big fan. Because I don't know. I don't know why I'm not a big fan, but I don't tell me what it's like. Tell me what it is.
I find that pitch works better for an editor or like a publishing agent, because then you're telling the agent exactly what the market is.
Yeah.
So when they're coming to, if you're coming to me and say, I got this new book, it's Batman, but with a team like the X-Men, I'm like, okay, so now I can approach these two venues when I'm looking at your script. But
it's kind of a film thing too.
Yeah, but the audience, they want to receive something kind of unique.
Yeah.
So if you can digest that to two different aspects, where you could say, same thing, Batman with a team like X-Men, it's a detective novel, but with a misfit family dynamic.
Yeah. But because I think part of it is if you tell me that your book is like Batman and something else, I'm like, oh, I'll just go buy Batman then.
Yeah.
You know?
So I only got a few bucks here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's right. And you just said your book is like Batman, so I just go buy Batman.
When I was working Portland Comic-Con last year with a different publisher, there was one book, and my go-to pitch was, it's ninjas, it's demons, it's a lot of murder. You'll love it. And that did well.
Yeah. That you can summarize it just like that. That can get their attention.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through. I think one of the things a lot of writers make the mistakes is they have to, well, let me take you through the hero's journey for this character. He starts off here, and then this happens, and then he meets the. No. They don't need all that. Just give them something. Give them the hook that gets them there, right?
Bloodline is resistance fighters against vampires.
Perfect.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I like that. Yeah. So, it is something that I think you kind of got to work on, and obviously the more appearances that you do, the better off you're going to be, because you don't just sit around at home and practice it. You practice it for when you're going to see people to sell them the book. So, Brent, you need to practice yours, because Trouble's little sister, the store, who supported Kayla's too.
Yes.
They will have books, and they've already said as soon as quarantine is over, they want you to come down and do a signing there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, So you need to get your 30-second spiel ready.
He needs a Silverline mask from Zazzle too.
Yeah. We have to get BJ to see if we can get a discount on a bulk order. See if we can't get some of those. I'm not sure if they can do that or not, but get all of us a Silverline mask.
I can find coupons and deals and percent. You just watch me.
There you go. So, all right. So, anything else? Ty, I see Flormonte never made it, and we're sorry about that. He wasn't able to join. He wanted to, and they've had issues with their web hosting service. So he'll be back with us next week when we do the inking thing. So what about it? Anybody have anything else to add, Alex? Oh, look at that. The Friar Rush pages right there. Sweet, John.
There you go. That is pretty sharp.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Alex, anything to add? Thumbs up, thumbs down. All right then. So, all right. I guess we'll call it a night. Next week we are going to have return to our craft segment, and we're going to talk to a bunch of inkers, and they're going to show us how they approach and how they start a page. Now, obviously, we're not going to be on long enough to watch any of them finish an entire page, but what we really want to see is the different approaches to when they've got a fresh page in front of them. What do? What are the first things they do to attack the page? Do they fill in the blacks? Do they do the outlines? What do they do? Do they go from the backgrounds to the foregrounds to background? I don't know. We're going to have a couple of different inkers on. John is going to be one of them. Might even see if we can't find something for Alex to ink and get him on as well. Flormonte will be here. Barb Kalberg will be here as well. So please return next week as we talk to inkers and talk about their craft. We'll probably talk about their tools a little bit too. Don't know if I want this session to be all about tools, but we may do a tools thing for them, because some of them, I know John is very much a traditional guy. He slaps ink onto paper. Tommy uses his iPad a lot, or his digital thing a lot, whatever it is. So be sure you tune in next week. But we're going to go around and folks, tell everybody where we can find you on the interwebs. Kurtis, where can folks find you?
Sure. Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Kurtis Fujita. Also, you can find my martial arts school. It's Tiger Crane Kung Fu on Facebook and also on Instagram and YouTube as Tiger Crane 805. And that's where you can find me.
Sweet. And as a reminder for everyone, I will put this down on YouTube. I will put this down in the information so that if you couldn't type it fast enough while we're talking, you could go down and look and see where we're at. Tim, what about you? Where can folks find you?
I am on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Tim T K Writer. I am on Twitch at Agro Bacon, and I will be there later tonight. And approximately.
What are you streaming tonight, Tim?
Tonight is either going to be League of Legends if everyone is on. If not, I'll probably hop on some Shogun 2, Total War.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that message. You said that Shogun 2 is free on Steam this week,
Shogun
right?
2 is currently free to own on Steam, so if you download it before May 1st, you will get the entire game for free to keep. All the DLC is also at a stupid discount, so you can get all the DLC for less than $13. Not sponsored,
Nice.
but Creative Assembly, we're here.
That's right. We can use one. I'm a big fan of the Total War series. Empire is probably my favorite. My biggest complaint about Empire is that there's no multiplayer campaign.
Yeah. Right.
I would love to see that function where you could join as France, me, England, and Russia, and several different countries, and have a campaign. So. One of the reasons I like Shogun 2 is because of the multiplayer campaign aspect. There's only 2 players there, but I do like that. So, good. So, Tim, do you ever stream? You ever play Age of Empires by any chance?
I do. I play that on occasion on stream. I'm not the best at it anymore. I have fallen out of practice since the mid-2000s, but...
Yeah, Brett and I have that, so that may be something that if you're not opposed to it, we might have to try to jump on and play some Age of Empires with you.
Absolutely, yeah, that'd be great.
Cool.
Sound like I need to get in on that.
Do you play Age of Empires?
No, I haven't. I didn't even know that game existed. How much that game.
Okay.
He's going to get a battle axe and cut.
Yeah, that's right. He can smash computer. Brent, what about you? Where can everybody find you on the social medias?
I'm on Facebook, Brent Larson. I am on Instagram at Brent.Vector. And actually, I'm kind of excited to announce I will have my personal website up and running within the next week or so.
Nice.
And I'll be able to start. That's it's officially up there. I'm going to start posting in the next few days.
Nice. Now, is that going to be BrentTLarson.com?
It is.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Well, we'll make sure that everyone who comes to listen to us here knows about it.
Yeah, well, that'd be pretty sweet, man.
Alex, what about you? Where can everyone find you? Oh, look at this. Tim, you're going to have to probably read that one for me or blow it up.
Yeah, there it is. Insta, Alex Gallimore 2. Twitter, Alex Gallimore 25. Facebook, Alex Gallimore.
Sweet. Thank
For
you, Alex.
real some.
That's right. No TikToks.
I should mention that I am on TikTok at Tim Doesn't TikTok, and we find Tommy's again here. I was actually just looking at it. Tommy, our bookmaker man, the guy who runs Kablam. His TikTok is, oh my gosh.
Jeopardy.
Yeah, just give. Yeah, there it is.
So Tim, my daughter and I were poking around TikTok the other day, and I think she probably followed you. But we found you, and I'm like, okay, he needs more TikToks. That was the first thing.
He's on Tommy Don't TikTok.
Tommy Don't TikTok. Huh? I guess all of us at Silverline we need to go something Don't TikTok, right?
Yes.
Is there anyone who actually likes TikTok? Sounds like people who are on it are trying to.
Bazillions of Alex does not.
I actually enjoy it. It's just you have to scroll enough and like enough videos so your For You page is not just dancing teenagers.
Yes, that's all I've been seeing.
The world needs more of that.
Yeah, you just have to make sure that you get the right likes in there so it's customized to what you actually enjoy.
I spent about 30 minutes, 45 minutes with my daughter last night going over a bunch of TikToks and things like that. And I keep telling her how unfunny I find them all. And she keeps trying to send me something that she thinks is funny, right? And I hear about this one, Dad, and I'm like, no, that's not funny. And of course, you know, I can see them on my computer when she sends me the link. It'll just take me there. But it will take me there. And I can't search it because I don't belong to it, but it'll take me there. And it always recommends some other videos. Without fail, there was always this one girl dancing. And I'm like, why is it? It's like, it doesn't matter what you're sending me. It's always this one girl is dancing. And so my daughter said, she said, who is it? And I told her, I forget who it was. And she said, oh yeah, I know who she is. And I'm like, okay. She said, yeah, Dad, she's like 16. I'm like, what the heck? Why is TikTok showing me this 16-year-old girl dancing?
Yeah.
Stop it.
You say it in that voice, Roland?
What is this? What is the 16-year-old on the TikTok?
I think I'm
that's
offended,
great.
Brent.
I'm gonna start telling TikTok to get off his lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my TikTok.
Sid, what about you? Where can folks find you on the interwebs?
At sidisalive.com. That's my website and kind of my home base. Facebook.com/Sidney Williams Books. That's Sidney spelled with an I. And just to help, you can also find me on Twitter, and that can be the gateway to other things too. And just Sidney_Williams with Sidney with an I. And on YouTube, I'm Sid Vidius, I think, and you can find me reading Flash horror stories. So.
Which I have enjoyed considerably.
Well, I appreciate that. Glad to hear that. I need to do a new one.
You do.
I was doing it every time I got a haircut, and then this virus thing happened.
You should plan to do one a month, you know?
That's about what I'm going to do. I'm about due to do one. Actually, I entered one in a contest just for fun, and I'm kind of waiting for that to crash and burn so that I have that story to read.
You're waiting to get the rejection, and then you can read it, right?
Yeah, I might read because it's new. I've got some other things I can read, so I may pull an old one out.
Gotcha. John, what about you? Where can everyone find you on the social medias?
Well, on Facebook, John Vampire Martin, Patreon, John Martin. John Vampire Martin on Patreon. Also, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. Don't ask me to remember those right now. I don't.
But you're there, huh?
I'm there. It's either going to be John Martin or John Vampire Martin or John Martin Art.
Well, tell you what, you send those to me, and I'll make sure that
I did.
on the YouTube. Okay, well then I've got them then, and I'll make sure that they're all on the YouTube in the about section. What about BJ? Do you wanna say anything, BJ? You wanna say hello or anything?
Good night.
So here's the exciting thing about I'll say about can I say, BJ, what you're going to start tomorrow?
Oh yeah.
So BJ has we're talking about all the positive things coming out of this quarantine. BJ has put together a group of moms, and tomorrow they're going to do their first live stream. It's just going to be how moms are handling the quarantine, right? They're home with kids and different things, and she's got an eclectic group of moms, and they're going to approach and discuss the different ways they have handled quarantine as moms. So that's going to be
exciting. It's called Mom Life, and it's moms that are expecting moms, toddlers, teenagers, all the way to grown children, whether they live close or far away, and just as moms. For each each category that we'll talk about is to see how we're dealing with and having to adjust. And also for those moms, for instance, that are currently have been homeschooling their children, is that what words of wisdom do they have? Because that's what moms have been faced with, families have been faced with, is their children being at home and basically being homeschooled because they're doing virtual classes and other things, but they're doing it all from home. And so just really tapping into learning and supporting each other. And yeah, so if you're married, or of a mom that would be interested in participating, encourage them to watch the first couple of times that we do this, and let me know if they want to jump in and be a part of it.
Excellent. So it's another positive that's come out, I think, of quarantine, as share what we know. So okay, well, I am Roland Mann. You can find me on Facebook, Roland Mann, and you probably find my my caricature, I think, is now I've got I think for the next couple of days I've got a picture of my lovely bride from several years ago. But you can find me on Twitter at ManRoland, and just all the social media places. I'll put them down on the YouTube thing. So for all of you, thanks for joining us today. Please remember to like and share on YouTube. Please subscribe. We've got our 100 subscribers, so we can get our name, but we want to keep pushing those numbers higher. I'm sure there are other cool things that YouTube will let us do as we increase our subscription base. And don't hesitate to ask any questions in any of the chats. And next week, remember, we're going to talk about inkers and how they approach and start a page from scratch. So we will see you next week, same time. Until then, make mine Silverline.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.